Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of the Coach's Corner, the Thanksgiving edition. With me, as always, the coach, Todd Kiley. My name is Kevin Papa. Coach, we've been away for a couple of weeks due to my work schedule. It's always tough when real work takes over for your fun. So playoff season has come and gone. It didn't go the way we wanted it to go. Were you able to take away any good from that?
Always, anytime you make a run like we made during the season. I mean, to go 7-1 with our schedule is extremely impressive. Like, these kids need to know that they need to know that they put everything they could into it to do what they did. And I mean, we would have been happier with higher than a nine seed.
Right.
Yeah,
we talked about that.
That's right. Yeah, we did talk about that. So we went up there, played them tough. Ran into a back that we had trouble containing. That was, at the end of the day, that was sort of the difference. And but that kid's one of the best I've seen at this level. So there's no shame in that. You just got to regroup and know that you're now playing for a Hawk title, and kids are fired up for tomorrow. And the weather's not going to be great, but it's not going to be great on both sidelines.
Right.
So
everybody's got to play in it.
Absolutely.
So that leads me up to Thanksgiving week. Now, this week, like you just said, you're playing for a Hawk title. But putting that aside, what's so special about Thanksgiving week and the Thanksgiving Day game?
Well, there's just so much tradition. There's no other place in the country that does what we do here in Massachusetts, and the rivalries, and especially you got a rivalry like Franklin and KP, which I know there's it's a great tradition, and the kids are talking about this game in the summer, so it's important. That's one of the first things they were talking about when I was hired, and I just kind of made a mental note to myself, saying this is important to this program. So, thanks. It's just a tradition of it all. Like in Holliston, it was just a great day. Usually it came down to the Holliston Westwood game. And tomorrow is no different. It's coming down to Franklin, KP for the Hawk title.
For the Moles. And and the coach on the other side, he to his credit, and we played them several times when he's gone on to a Super Bowl, is he doesn't sit anybody, and he plays it because he believes in the Thanksgiving tradition, which I think is humongous. It's an emotional week for you and the staff and the kids, and then it's an emotional after the game for the kids especially.
Yeah.
It's always a great time, Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. No, I know. When it's all said and done, it's finally like, oh, shoot, we're not coming in tomorrow. I don't get to see these kids.
The great void begins.
Yeah, as often. You do go through as much as you need. You need that break when it comes. You go through a little bit of depression that you're not going to be seeing the people that you've spent so many hours with over the course of the past. Really, I mean, I've spent every day with these kids since June.
Yeah.
With our workouts and the great turnout we had there 5 days a week. So it's been a long time with these kids. I'm sure they're ready. They're ready for a break from me, and us. But they've been great. It's been what a treat year one to have a group like this. They're workers and they're good kids, and they gave themselves a chance at accomplishing that number one goal, which is winning the Hawk, which is not an easy thing to do. But we're in a position to do it. So again, you got to give these kids credit.
How? I'm assuming, like everybody else, after the game, you're going to go home to your family. You're going to have a Thanksgiving dinner. How long, as a coach, let's take the Hawk Championship out of it, does it take for you to get back into family mode?
Yeah.
It's an emotional game. Seasons come to an end. Now you're going to have Thanksgiving dinner. Or is it a process?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously you don't shortchange the day with your family.
Right.
That's I just love Thanksgiving in general. Never mind, the game is obviously an important piece of that, but just being with family and get to be with my brothers and sister and my mother, father, and just get to spend quality time that you unfortunately don't get to do a whole lot these
No.
days. You know, as busy as you know
Everybody's
that
busy, yeah.
working
Yep.
working 4 jobs right now. So yeah, you just enjoy that day, but you do sort of unwind a little bit. But you still have the banquet. A lot of time, a lot of preparation goes into the banquet
Mhm.
because it's again, a lot of hours go into this. You don't want to shortchange that piece of it. So I'll be back to making the banners. We do for our awards. We do banners, and so I'll be making those. You know, my wife will be doing the 1,000-yard balls and anything, placemats, and so you put your mind into and your hours into that. So it sort of fills that immediate void.
Immediate void.
But then once the banquet's over, then it's off season,
Right.
and then you're plugging away. So there's really no off season.
No, because then you're back in the gym. You're
Yeah.
working out. You're lifting.
But it's a lot like
Right.
it's not the grind.
It's not
of
the
it.
grind of a regular season.
The grind of a season is
Yeah.
as you know.
Even at the freshman level, I can tell you, it
Yeah.
was a grind.
No, you guys-
it was a grind.
You guys put into it just as much as any of us do, and that's why we had success at your level. You guys winning the Hawk with the Frosh.
Yeah.
That's a huge.
If they had that, but
Well,
but we counted.
well, whatever.
We counted as that.
Yeah, bottom line is you beat everybody in on our side, and I'm excited to get those kids as sophomores.
Yeah, I saw some of them
Gonna
out
be
there
making-
today.
Yeah, gonna be making. It's a big jump, but those you can see some of them are gonna be ready for that. Everybody develops at a different rate. Some will be maybe another year away, but close. So you hope that you get a dozen kids that know they're ready and they're competing, and it'll be interesting to see. Because the off season is
Right.
a time of huge growth.
Mhm.
So what kids are gonna put in that time to
Right.
make that?
The willingness.
Yeah, and other kids are gonna be playing sports, which is awesome too, competing every day. So, yeah, it'll be exciting.
So this is your first senior class here. It's your first class here. What's something? It'll always be special to you because it's the first group
Yeah.
of guys you ever got to
Yeah.
meet. What's something you take away from this senior class?
Just how close they are. It is really. It's a tight group, and you know that just through. They don't shut up.
No,
You know?
stop talking.
They don't stop talking. But with that comes so much good, because they are a tight group. And when you have tight groups like that, that's a recipe. Normally, that's a recipe for success. And it's a team that that obviously the adversity that this group has had to face. With losing one of their teammates, losing one of their classmates, losing 2 parents.
Yep.
Right, and 2 parents that we lost. Just hearing some of their senior speeches, very emotional. Just some of the things these kids have had to go through, and not just losing parents. I mean, that's to do that at this early of an age is just heartbreaking. And to go through that, but just you hear some of the other things that kids have had to go through. So it does. I'm a crier, anyways. I'm a wuss, I get emotional, especially when you're hearing kids talk that mean so much to you. That's an emotion.
Yeah, I couldn't talk after we played KP the other day.
Yeah, I
'Cause I was with those kids for 4 years, and it's.
Oh, I bet, right? So
it's-
you
it's-
especially
yeah,
were.
I was choked up, and
Yeah.
I had to pull myself out of it.
Yeah, no, I know. What a great win that was for you guys.
How much time do you put into helping the kids get recruited at this point, or
Oh,
is
you
that
gotta-
already been?
It's already going.
It's
but
ongoing.
I sent out the spreadsheet a couple weeks back. With kids having to fill in information, sort of a template that we use with the college coaches, and they're gonna not this past week they've been hitting the road on that. So we've had coaches in already, but it's really gonna heat up right after the Monday after Thanksgiving is when it really heats up. And all levels, depending on what you have for talent, all levels will heat up.
Right.
It's the lower levels. The seniors are still involved with that recruiting. When I say lower levels, I'm talking really, even FCS is still
Right.
in the mix for some of these schools. They want you committed by now. they're squeezing kids big time, because they're feeling the trickle down effect. Those FBS kids that were holding out for FBS offers, they want those kids to commit just because they got to shore up their rosters.
Sure.
It's just a trickle down effect. Then Division II start to shore up their rosters, and then Division III. So we got a bunch that want to play at the next level, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I love. That's a big reason why I get into this, why I do it, is to see these kids move on, play at the next level, and anytime you can maybe save families money,
Oh, yeah.
that's a big incentive of mine too. We all know how hard that is when you get kids in school, and
I wouldn't know anything about that. I only have 3 in college right now.
Yeah,
So. I'm going back
You know
next
nothing
year.
about those bills, then, right?
The future of Franklin football looks very bright. Like you mentioned, the freshmen came off basically winning the Kelly Rex and
Yeah.
being the first, I want to say, sub-varsity team to beat a King Philip team in 10 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think the program's only got 3 wins total out of it.
Yeah.
Your 8th grade coming up, we're combined 14-2.
Yep.
7th grade won their first playoff game ever,
Yeah.
and improved had a winning record, 5-2, 5-3. And Gatewood, congratulations, Steve, and to the
Awesome,
6th
man.
graders who,
Yep.
for the second time in 3 years, won a state championship. So the future, the pipeline is starting to fill up, and that's got to be a great feeling.
Oh, it's an awesome feeling. The key is keeping every single kid here at Franklin,
Yeah.
and that's, but just to piggyback on what you're saying about the success of those teams, that's everything. I think that's our feeder program. That's coaches down there putting in the time to do that. We got a great youth staff, that I've
Yeah.
witnessed over the past 3 months. Just just looking at it from afar a lot, but just witnessing what these teams have been able to do, and then the records speak for themselves. You get that 6th grade group. You get the other 6th grade team, the white team.
Yeah, lost by a touchdown to that 16.
Right, to that team. So they're 6 points away.
Could have been flip-flopped.
Yeah,
Could
they're
have
6
easily
points
been flip-flopped.
away from being that team.
Yeah.
But it was impressive, just impressive I went and watched those guys at Millbury on Sunday. And to see them do what they did was impressive. They hit a little adversity in that game and didn't phase them at all, which was good to see.
That's
right?
great, yep.
Because it's easy when things are going well, but when
Things
that
are going
adversity
bad,
hits,
right.
that shows you
Especially
true character.
when you are that successful, is that's what you want to see. When you're that successful over the course of 3 years and
Yeah.
adversity hits, how do you respond to that?
Exactly, and they showed some good true colors there that I was proud of them for. And like you said, you got the 7th grade team and what you guys did there, making the playoffs, and the 8th grade team, both those teams. So yeah, the future's bright. Like I said, we gotta keep them there. They gotta. Families have to know that you're gonna get you got, first of all, you got a staff that's gonna work their tails off to get you. If your kid wants to play at the next level, you got a staff that's gonna work their tails off to get those kids to the next level and at the absolute maximum level.
I think
Possible.
Coach Brown sent us that one text from the kid from Needham who said, you could go away and play at a Zavarian or St. John's or something like that, but if you win the Super Bowl, your neighbor doesn't know that.
Right.
Whereas if everybody in Needham, he played for Needham, will know they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
Yeah, and playing for your hometown.
Right.
There is nothing like it. And you hear a lot of kids that do decide to move on, sort of regret making that move, because my brother is a Division II head football coach, and you talk to these other coaches, Division I, FBS, at all levels. It doesn't matter where you play. It's going to come down to your film and then getting in front of these guys for camps.
Right.
Those are the two things. It doesn't matter how many stars you have under your rating. Your these kids that like to, it's obviously it's nice to be highly rated and all that, but the BC coach just put something out on Twitter about, we don't care how many stars you have. for your recruiting
Right.
rating. And we don't care about your stats, or we care about A, what your film looks like, and B, you getting in front of us to show us what you can do. And there's never, these coaches are feeding their families by the kids
Right.
that they bring in.
Right.
They are not, it doesn't matter where these kids are from.
Nope.
If you are, if you're 6'4" and can run a 4.4 and you go to some school that has 35 people in it, doesn't matter. You're going to be getting recruited by all these
Right.
these schools. And Millis had a kid a few years back. School, one of the smallest schools in the state of Massachusetts, had an offer from literally every school in the country, because he was 6'6".
Right. Can't teach size and speed.
Yep. And he had all those measurements, and so these coaches are gonna, doesn't matter where you play, and especially at a school like Franklin, where I think
Your
college
day in
coaches
and
value.
your day in and day out competition.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like you're getting better competition if you go to, and I'm just saying Zavarian or Fian or anything
Right.
like that. I mean, you're still
You know,
playing
playing the same
KP
teams.
every year. You're still playing,
Playing the same
Milford
teams.
and the Hockomock, the
Yep.
gauntlet that is the Hockomock.
Yep.
And the one thing about playing at a public school is you know who your enemy is. You know who the guy's fighting for your job is.
Yep.
At a private school, you may not know that because he may have just gotten recruited for next year.
Right. Yep.
But enough about them.
Yep.
All right, it's going to be rainy. It's going to be wet. It's going to be cold. First rain Thanksgiving game I've ever been to.
Yeah. I can't recall
I've
one
been
either.
I've been to the one 4 or 5 years ago. It was -3 degrees out.
That was a cold day. Actually, now that I think about it, we've had a couple of rain ones, but yeah, they're few and far between.
Yeah.
So
So-
this will be. Hey, I told the kids, got to embrace this, right?
Man
Let's
up.
embrace it.
Everybody, let's
Yeah,
say
let's
playing for a
go.
Hawk championship. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and we'll see you next time on the Coach's Corner.